Hi, I'm Karthik and today we're going to be installing Ubuntu. Log on to ubuntu.com and download our ISO file. Once you have it downloaded, head on to your file manager. This will be my ISO file which I'm going to be using. Now I'm docking Debian 10. So I will use Debian commands. You need to plug in your flash drive. This is my flash drive, Transcend 4 gigs, and it's at STP, so I'm going to unmount it. Okay, so after this I'm going to be using command line tools. So I'm writing the ISO file onto my flash drive. This is going to take some time. Ubuntu ISO files are around 2 gigs. And I'll resume this video once the copying has been done. Okay, so now the ISO file has been successfully written onto my flash drive. It took around 3 minutes, as you can see the timing right there. Okay, so for people who are using Windows, if you're using Windows, then download this application called Rufus, and it's a self-explanatory, graphical user interface ISO burning tool, and that should do the job quite as well. And now we have our drive, and that's going to be this flash drive. We'll go ahead and unmount that. Once we have that, we'll switch over to the system we are using. We're going to be installing Ubuntu on. So now we'll power on our system, which is supposed to be which is supposed to be installing Ubuntu on. And while it's booting up, we will hit F12 for the boot menu. Once we have that, we will boot from the flash drive, and this should start the installation process by itself. This is going to take some time, and Ubuntu installations are quite simple. I have a little bit of experience in installing other Linux distributions like Debian and Arch. They take some time, and if you're installing it for the first time, Ubuntu is the right choice. So we'll resume the video once the installation procedure begins. So now, as you can see, Ubuntu is loading from the flash drive. Now we are going to have to use a mouse, and you can either try Ubuntu or install it right away. I'm going to install it right away. We'll leave everything as it is. Normal installation. Only problem with Ubuntu is it gives you a lot of bloatware, and what happens is this thing sometimes ends up crashing if you try to update the distribution. So I right now have Debian 10, and I can either erase it and install it alongside that. You will have Windows over here if you're running Windows. I'll just continue and install it alongside. So it did the hard drive disk management and partitioning by itself. Or I'll just go back and install it on the whole without installing it alongside. I'll erase the whole disk and do it, so it'll be a fresh install. Our time zone is India. Let's see. How many was that? 1 2 3 4 5 6. So it takes 6 characters as a minimum for the password in Ubuntu 18.04. This is 18.04 and 19.04. Then it's pretty much done from here. It's going to give you a little bit of advertising of Canonical. That's the team which is developing Ubuntu and distributing them. The reason why I started using Linux was because this PC right here, which you can see, couldn't handle Windows. It's a pretty old computer, and it had a lot of hard drive storage, so I used this as my backup server kind of a thing, and I ended up installing Debian without a desktop environment. When you're installing distributions like Debian, you have a choice of not installing a desktop environment, so the ISO file will be around 280 MB, whereas Ubuntu gives you GNOME by default as the desktop environment. This is going to take some time. We'll head back here once the install is done. Once the installation is complete, you'll get a message like this. You hit restart and the computer should reboot by itself. You need to plug the installation media out. That's your flash drive. Because I have freshly installed Ubuntu without any other operating system on this computer, I don't have to worry about selecting one particular operating system while booting up. This is the regular Ubuntu boot up screen. and that has loaded Ubuntu successfully. Yeah, so you can see settings. I took the name of my motherboard, the model number, took the model number of my motherboard to, as the name of the system, and I have Genome, that's a desktop environment, version 3.28. I have a 1 TB hard disk. It's a 64-bit system. That's my GPU, and that's my processor. It's a pretty old processor. I told you it couldn't handle Windows, and few of its general applications like Nautilus and Terminal, they come pre-installed. This is user 01TTY2. I could log on to one more user on TTY3 maybe, and I log on to root, and I don't think I set a root password. Yep, I haven't set a root password, so we'll head back here and do sudo password. The new Unix password, that should do, and let's do hopefully this works. Okay, so Ubuntu doesn't allow you to log in as root. Even if you try to log out, that's pretty much it. So this is complete installation of Ubuntu. Thank you.